Hey everyone and welcome back. So have a lot of announcements to get to, including the May titles that are coming out from Arrow. But before I get to the Arrow ones, I do want to mention just a couple of other ones real quick that are coming, that are getting 4K releases. So one of them is actually coming from the Criterion Collection. Speaking of May titles, part of their May announcements includes the classic film noir film Double Indemnity, which is getting a 4K release. For some of you classic film fans, that is obviously a very exciting one to get released, and actually should look really great in 4K. And the other two are Paramount titles that are also getting the 4K treatment. First up is Beverly Hills Cop 2, which is coming out May 17th. Yeah, May 17th. Had to double check the date there. Now, why this wasn't released with the first film, I don't know, and why the third one still hasn't been released. They really should have just released all three of them once in 4K, but they're sort of trickling out at least. And the other one, which I'm super excited for, is The Untouchables coming out in 4K on May 31st. I'm not only a big fan of the film, but some of you know I'm a huge Brian De Palma fan, so anytime one of his films gets a new release, especially now in 4K, I am very, very excited for it, and one definitely that I will pick up right away. And now we have the Arrow announcements for May. So we got a couple allotment here of different ones. So Blu-ray and 4K releases, a couple of UK only releases, and even I believe one of them is at least just a US and Canada only release. So first up for the UK only releases, first up is a limited edition Blu-ray set of the film Enter the Void. Now I've heard of the film, I've actually never seen it, so if some of you have seen it, definitely let me know what you think. But this is a hallucinatory meditation on life, death, and rebirth from Caspar Noah, shot entirely in the first person. That actually sounds interesting. I didn't realize it was actually a first person, so that actually sounds pretty cool. And that release is going to have actually two cuts of the film, the original 143-minute UK theatrical cut, as well as a 161-minute director's cut. And as far as I know, that is actually going to be Region B locked, so definitely something to keep in mind. The next UK only title is the film Lux Eterna, a more recent film from 2019 that is getting a release from Arrow, and another one, I'm actually not familiar with this one at all, but it says here from the description, a powerful hypnotic assault on the senses like no other, cementing Caspar Noah's position as one of the most incendiary, let me try that again, voices in cinema today. So it's from the same director as Enter the Void. So yeah, if you guys have seen that one too, definitely let me know. Is this somebody I should probably check out? The next one is a 4K release that is UK only. So for those of you outside of the UK, you are going to have to import it or get it from someplace like Diabolic DVD, especially if you're here in the States. And that is a 4K release of CANDYMAN, the original CANDYMAN. And that's going to have two cuts of the film, the original R-rated theatrical cut, as well as an alternate European cut or UK cut. And it looks like it's porting over a lot of the stuff that was on the Arrow Blu-ray release of CANDYMAN. Now, what I don't know is whether or not, for those of you who may wonder, like whether or not we'll get this here in the States, I don't know. I know Scream Factory did put out the Blu-ray release, but I think here in the States, I think CANDYMAN is owned by Sony. Maybe some of you know more than I do on that one, but I think Sony owns that. Sony is not going to license out a 4K release that I know of to a third party. So if it does get a 4K release here, it would most likely come from Sony. Or you could just import the Arrow one like I'm going to do, place my order with Diabolic DVD. But it's nice to see more classic horror films getting the 4K treatment. And the next one is a US and Canada only release for this one coming to Blu-ray. And that is the film One-Armed Boxer. And that film is getting a nice release with a brand new 2K transfer. And what's interesting is that it's you can get the regular release, or if you order directly from Arrow, from their new US store, you can actually get this alternative slipcover option that'll have the original poster artwork on it, which I think is kind of cool. I like that they're sort of offering that as an option. And then the next title coming to the US, Canada, and the UK, luckily, so we're all going to be able to get this one. It's actually one I'm pretty excited about, and this is Girls Night Out. This is a fun film, and it's finally getting released on Blu-ray. I think it had a DVD release, I think, from way back when. And that is getting a brand new 2K restoration from the original 35mm vault elements. It's getting some nice special features, as well as importing some that I believe were on a previous release. And another option with that one as well is you can also get it with an alternative slipcover of under the alternate title, The Scare Maker. So for those of you who are not too familiar with it, just from the description, a frenetic cross between Animal House and Friday the 13th, veering from jovial frat antics to jarringly disturbing scenes of the killer's shrieking obscenities as he slices up his victims. On this night out, no one is coming coming home. So one I'm looking forward to seeing it, because I'm almost positive, I asked a buddy of mine, but I kind of have a feeling like we all watched it together in one of our little marathons that we used to do. And finally, for Arrow, coming to the UK, US, and Canada, luckily, so we're all getting it, is a new 4K release of John McNaughton's Wild Things, which is going to have 2 cuts of the film, the original theatrical cut as well as the unrated director's cut. And the interesting thing about this one is, this is where it gets a little complicated, is that there are actually like 4 different versions of it to choose from. So there's the standard limited edition 4K set in one of the little boxes that comes with a bunch of extras, you know, the booklets and the little like lobby card recreations and all that kind of stuff. And then there's a limited edition Blu-ray version, so it's basically the same set but obviously just Blu-ray. And then there's a limited edition steelbook version that has all the extras, but has both the 4K and the Blu-ray disc. Now, I believe that one is a Zavi exclusive. And another Zavi exclusive is also one that is just a steelbook. It doesn't have the extra bits and pieces, but just the discs themselves. But again, it also comes with a 4K and the Blu-ray release. So depending if you want both formats, maybe one of those two would be better. I'm probably going to lean towards just the regular 4K release, most likely for myself. But I'm excited to get it, because definitely Wild Things is definitely a really good movie, and I'm glad that John McNaughton, I kind of feel like he's almost just getting a little bit more recognition now, which is kind of cool, because obviously Henry is coming out pretty soon from Arrow as well, and The Borrower got released from Scream Factory last year, which is great. So yeah, we kind of get some you know, John McNaughton appreciation, which in my mind is long overdue. And one teaser announcement that Second Sight did is that they did tweet this out. As you can see here, currently in the works for 4K release later this year, and of course that's a picture from Texas, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now that is exciting news, but it does raise a couple questions. So one, obviously Second Sight is a UK company. Now they did an amazing job with Dawn of the Dead. So, and obviously they have other ones coming up, including George Romero's Martin, Dog Soldiers, The Hitcher. They got a lot of stuff coming, but it makes me wonder whether or not that's also going to get a US release. So in the US, actually I should say Dark Sky owns not just the US rights, but I believe they actually literally own the film. Like they even own all the film elements, the original negative and all that kind of stuff. So I would assume Dark Sky Films, or who owns Dark Sky Films, who owns the rights, is working with Second Sight on this. So it wouldn't surprise me if maybe at some point Dark Sky actually does put out their own 4K release here in the States. Definitely something I'll keep an eye on. But either way, no matter what happens, we will at least get a really great 4K release of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then finally in the rumor mill, one I'm super excited for, but again, this is sort of very unofficial until there is an official word, but it looks like we may actually get Fright Night in 4K later this year. Now, some of you know that's one I've definitely wanted in 4K for a while. In fact, when Sony had something on, like they had something up on a website where you could vote for titles that could get 4K releases, and Fright Night was one of them. Some of you may remember I was like, you know, if you guys want to vote for Fright Night, I'd really appreciate it. So it looks like we may actually get it. Now, I hope it's not part of one of those box sets. I mean, the last, you know, Columbia Pictures box set was fine because I had a lot of good ones, but I won't have to buy a whole box set, mainly for one movie, so I'm hoping it just gets a single release. But obviously, once there's an official announcement, I will be announcing that. But so for right now, that is literally just a rumor. So that's it for this news update. Definitely let me know your thoughts on all these announcements, especially with the Arrow ones coming out in May. And also want to apologize, I've not been feeling good the last 2 weeks. Been getting a lot of headaches and everything. That's why there haven't really been that many videos. I've been very slow on commenting. Just haven't. It's been hard sitting in front of the computer or anything to respond to stuff when you got like, you know, massive headaches and stuff. It happens about 3 times a year when like the seasons start to change and everything. They're kind of very sensitive to certain weather conditions. The joys of being me. But I feel a lot better, so hopefully I can get back to videos on the regular again, and to comments and everything else. So as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.